This is Kickin' and Streamin' Podcast.
Jojo, Jerry and Marge go large. What do you think of these little movie? One and two. Can you tell folks what it's all about?
This is a super cute little movie. I enjoyed it very much, and it's more enjoyable than you might think it is, I think, by the trailers and things that are out about it. But what it basically is it is based on a true story about a retired couple in Michigan, and the husband realized that there was a mathematical loophole with the lottery in the state, and basically the more you paid the lottery at played the lottery at certain times, you were pretty much guaranteed to win. So over years, he and his wife end up making quite a bit of money off of the Michigan lottery. Michigan ended up shutting down that lottery, so then they moved to Massachusetts. And this is a really good story about their relationship, about what kind of people they are, about what they did with the money, what they didn't do with the money, and it's a really sweet, fun movie. Bryan Cranston and Annette Bening and Rainn Wilson star in it, and it's very good. It's very good.
And yeah, I ended up loving this movie, but I ended up also being very fascinated by the character that Bryan Cranston played. He is the type of person that if you don't know him very well, you can't help but underestimate him because he's not a spectacularly charming person. He is somebody that does not do well with people.
Hmm.
And so people who are friends with his wife are friends with him, but they're not necessarily his friend.
Right.
That's how I feel it is, you know.
They probably know next to nothing about him.
Right, we tolerate this guy because we like his wife, but he's not necessarily a friend. Oh, well, he's a friend, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yet this guy has some absolutely fantastic qualities that those are the qualities that people run away from because if you try to dig into who he is and what he's all about, then he might make you feel inadequate because this is a dude who is a self-made mathematician,
Hmm.
right, with a high school diploma. This is not a guy he never left his town, right?
No.
He started working at 17, the same plant, and retired at the same plant. 42 years, I believe he did.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep. A little town in Michigan, population 1,900 people. Yeah. I actually I got really interested in him. I shouldn't say his character, in the man, because as you said, he's not particularly charming, and not that he's a nasty guy or anything. He's just kind of there. I think is probably a good way to describe him. So I actually watched a 60 Minutes segment about him, his wife, and it's from 2019, so before the movie came out. And it was really interesting because he is very much as Bryan Cranston played him, and very like you can tell there's this incredible intelligence there, but at the same time he wasn't like flaunting it or anything, but it was also basically him like, I don't understand why nobody else got this.
exactly.
Like, I don't get it. Like,
He doesn't see it as a special talent.
right,
In his view,
right.
any human being should be able to get this. Right.
Right, exactly. To him, it's just like, yeah, it's like if 2 plus 2 is 4, duh. I mean,
Right.
and not in a like a condescending manner. Or like you said, he doesn't think it's anything special. He's just like, yeah, it was easy for me, so why wouldn't it be easy for everybody else? Like he doesn't have this ego or anything like that going on. So I really enjoyed the interview on 60 Minutes, and they're they're very funny and delightful in person, if you will, as they are in the movie. But I did like that, and I did like the sort of I don't know quite how to describe it, but the sort of everyman message I think that is in the movie. Of course he is special because he figured it out. The other people that figured it out were from MIT, but at the same time, the fact that he was like confused as to why anybody else didn't figure it out to me is like, I think that as Americans we're sort of told you can't figure that out because you didn't go to college to do that,
Right.
or you didn't specially study that thing for years and years and years. So therefore, don't even try to do the thing because you don't know what you're doing and you're going to mess it up. And I think that there's a lot of stifling in the education system of genuine intelligence and thought process, as a and self-education. You're taught to be able to pass a test. You're not necessarily taught how to think and how to research and how to educate yourself in most public school systems. So I think that that this is a lovely example of the fact that this is a man who, as you said, he never left his hometown, is a self-taught mathematical genius, and that's the important part to me is the self-taught. It's like to him, he's going, anybody could have done this, but
Yeah.
I have a little bit of affinity towards math, natural ability towards math, and I'm interested in it, so I figured it out. But anybody could have, and I enjoyed that sort of message in the movie because I just don't think there's enough of that we see in entertainment because everybody has to be a superhero. Do something.
Yeah.
Everybody has to be oh, I was born and bred to do this thing. I had this education. I did this, and I just love that this is this quiet little man from Michigan just essentially smoked the whole country. It's just fantastic.
And yes, you're absolutely right. And this is why I love this, as you said, because nowadays everybody's an expert, right? Somebody will literally, shake his ass or show his spec on Instagram for long enough to get, 10,000 or 1 million followers. And all of a sudden, they're expert on how to get followers on Instagram. In the end, if you fall for it, what you get yourself is basically paying for a lot of shit that you already know, and you just hearing how it happened to work out for somebody else,
Right.
because you have been too slow into putting those things into practice.
Right.
It is as simple as that. Like, people are just bringing the most logical, selling you the most logical things that you could do and tell you that is my formula.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
And also and as you said, not acknowledging the fact that they happen to be in exactly the right place at exactly the right time,
Right.
or say exactly the right thing exactly the right algorithm. So so much of it is just chance.
Right.
With that sort of thing. Of course, natural talent and ability is part of it too, but for a lot of folks, especially now with the way algorithms control our lives, it's what worked for them is not going to work for somebody else necessarily. So, but I love the idea of not having to be an expert and still quietly, massively
Yeah. Yeah.
taking over your whole state and another state too. I mean,
Yeah.
anything that screws massholes out of money is happy by me.
Perfectly fine by me too. In the US, going to college is just a matter is a way of perpetuating class. You know what I mean? The whole expectation that college and going to college to be, everything that you want to be is not, it does not exist, basically. You
No.
go to college because the thing that you want to do with your life has to do with college.
Right.
But you don't come to the conundrum of what do I want to go to college for, but rather, what do I want to do with my life? And will I be able to make a living with what I want to do with my life? And so that's like in the US, it's just like go to school, go to college, and after college, boom.
Mhm.
That's life. And if you're not very successful, then you didn't go to college. And if you are successful without having to go to college, then a lot of people will say, man, he's got the money, but he doesn't have a college education.
Right. It's a whole level of classism is fascinating to me. It's existed for a long time in this country, but I feel it's much worse now.
People don't seem to understand that the whole college thing started with the New Deal. Okay, going to college became a thing after the New Deal. Not everybody had the money to go to college. And then it became a business where businesses are shoving money up your face so you can go to college and owe them money. Even when you probably have figured out, I could probably get by without going to college,
Yes.
right? So many of the inventors that today we celebrate, these people just started to just fucking around with shit. College is just a matter of class. And I am very proud of my son's generation who have figured out, right? I'm not going to get myself into this kind of entanglement if I don't need to.
Yes.
Yes.
It's fantastic that they have figured it out. And schools are panicking because of it, which is fantastic because you go into debt, such huge amount of debt that you are never going to be able to repay in some cases. And I've met some of these folks and worked with some of these folks, and I can assure you that their money was wasted. And I'm really not saying that in a mean way whatsoever. I'm just saying that I know that they don't know how to self-educate, that their education that they received, that they spent a huge amount of money on, wasn't any better than if they had books and read them. What they got out of it essentially was a very expensive piece of paper that they could show to people that in the workforce and probably make a couple bucks more an hour because of it. So it has absolutely nothing to do with mental quality, which is the
Listen,
classism is so tied up in, oh, I'm smarter than you and I'm better than you, and it's like, no. I mean,
listen.
you've heard me talk about my father and how much I loved my father and how incredibly intelligent I consider my father, one of the most intelligent people I've ever met in my entire life. He never went to college.
There is this proverb. It's sort of like a little analogy in the Caribbean. I don't know if it's Moscow, because like most proverbs come from Africa. But there's the proverb of the dude who hired a fishing boat, and dude is very rich and shit, pay all kinds of money for the fishing boat, and the little captain is some dude from the shore. And they started talking, and the rich guy said something, and the little captain says, I'm probably gonna have to explain that to me because I don't know what it means. Says, let me ask you a question. Do you know how to read and write? He said, no, I never went to school. Oh, you never went to school? You don't know how to read and write? Like, no. And the dude says, damn, man, what a life you have. And later, a storm started, and the boat is going down. And the guy's like, let me ask you a question. Do you know how to swim? I said, no, I don't know how to swim. What a life you won't have.
Oh, that's good. I like that. I
It's
think it might sound like a little bit that we're railing against education. We're absolutely not. And I know you well enough to speak for you when I say that. And I'm not, absolutely not. What I'm railing against is the idea of an education make you a different class.
right.
And the idea that you have to follow these particular rules to get a legitimate education. That's bullshit. You can absolutely receive an excellent education outside of college. It could possibly even be a better education. It honestly
Agree.
depends on the person and their motivations. But you have to be able to be exposed to critical thought processes, study. It's not fun. you know, the learning how to study for me was not fun until you get it, and then it is fun. But it is something that you have to learn. It is something that has to be taught, but you absolutely don't have to go to college to get it. That's all that I personally am saying. I
Yeah.
am railing
Yeah.
against the classism of college. It should not be
Yes.
that. It
Yes.
should, and the idea that because you went to college, you're smarter than somebody who did not go to college, or that you have a better education than somebody who didn't go to college. It's not
That's
true.
exactly my thing. For me, it's the notion of being highly educated. Like, oh, this person is highly educated. They went to such and such college.
Yeah.
That to me is absolute bullshit. And this is why we have gotten into this little bit of rabbit hole, because Jerry Selby, the character that Bryan Cranston plays, is again a dude who never left his hometown.
Yeah.
Yet he was, or he is, a mathematical genius because he was still curious. Numbers fascinated him and he gave it a chance and he went after. He never saw a problem that he didn't want to solve.
Yeah.
So that's all we're saying. This is not a rant against education, but rather there's more than, one way to skin a goat. Is that how they say the thing?
I think it's more than one way to skin a cat, but I like how to skin a goat. That works.
Yeah, there's no reason to skin a cat. No, that's cruel. A goat. I mean,
Yeah.
I still don't know why we're talking about goats, but here,
It's okay. You brought it up, so.
thank you, Josh. Right. Let's go into the cast of this, Jojo. This was Bryan Cranston as Jerry Selby, Annette Bening as Marge Selby, Uli Schlesinger as Tyler, that little shite. Fucking hate that kid, man.
Uh-huh.
This is a good little actor because he did his job on that one.
He really did. He really, really did.
I thought he was one of the Culkin kids because he looks like.
He does look like a Culkin, doesn't he?
Yeah. Just like, do they have like a little brother? Or did Macaulay already have a kid? Anna Camp, is she from the choir show, the choir movie, the one with the little Australian lady that got skinny?
Oh, Pitch Perfect?
Yeah.
Yes, that is her.
Okay. She was the daughter, Dawn Selby.
Yep.
Like that face I can recognize anywhere.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes. Very, very particular face. She was in True Blood too.
oh, was
I
she?
remember seeing her in that. And there was some other show she was into. Was she in Glee? I don't know. But yeah, she's been in a lot of things. But yeah,
And
as you
then
said,
of
she has a
course,
very particular face.
yeah. And then you've got Rainn Wilson,
Mm-hmm.
who, like, I don't know, killed it for me. He was too good. A dirty looking guy from the gas station. That was funny. I loved it.
I was happy to see Michael McKean because he just makes me happy.
Yeah, Michael McKean. Like I remember him from Soul, just called Soul, or
Better Call Saul?
Better Call Saul. His Soul's big brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Anne Harada has a very particular way of being funny, because I remember her from. Do you remember that show? Did you ever watch that show Schmigadoon on Apple TV Plus?
No, I meant to, and I never did.
Schmigadoon was a very funny show, but most people didn't like it because it was a musical. Like, people belt out just singing, everything about it. It was a town that they did everything singing, and Anne Harada played the character of the wife of the mayor. I think the mayor was one of those dude who everybody else knows he's gay except he himself. Like, even his name was like Mayor Maneater or something like that. And Anne Herrera was the wife, and she was very funny. There's something that she does with her face, like one of those people who believe everything and everything they're saying too, and then they confirm it by, like, nodding a lot.
Uh-huh.
And she did a little bit of that in the movie on the very first scene, and I'm like, yeah, that's that face right there. This is very, very funny. Yeah, Larry Wilmore. Larry Wilmore's funny. I like Larry Wilmore. Tracy Thoms, the journalist, Maya. It was a very small character, but I like what she did. I like the way she went about it.
Yeah, I like Tracy Thoms. I think that everything she's in, she's good.
Yeah, it's a very small cast.
Mm-hmm.
For a movie that had a lot of people in it was a very small cast, but everybody sort of like killed it.
Yeah.
It was a very compact little cast that came together and did what they needed to do. So, cool little movie. I'm really glad I watched it.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that they made this man's story into a movie, because he kind of deserved it.
I agree.
All right then. So yeah, Jerry and Marge Go Large, Paramount Plus. Hopefully you like it as much as we do. Like I said, it's nothing to write home about. It's not a terribly funny movie or anything like that. Sort of profound thing that will make you look to the stars and think hard. It's just a very light-hearted, well-made, well-acted little movie. You like, innit?
And I don't know. It made us sort of like go on an education rant. So maybe it will make you think about things.
Yeah. All right then, Jojo, we're gonna call it a day. For me, for Jojo. So goodbye, folks.
Bye, everybody.